What keeps you going? Where do you get your motivation? Whether you just want to be the best you can be or the best there ever was, we're here to keep you inspired. Conversations with today's top fitness influencers, coaches, athletes, and bodybuilding professionals. This is Inspired Fitness. Here's your host, Sean Feuderer.
Welcome to the Inspired Fitness Podcast. This episode is sponsored by Flexogenics. Every year, thousands of people undergo unnecessary joint and knee surgeries. Flexogenics was created to offer the very best in non-surgical solutions that allow you to get back to doing the activities you love. Before deciding on surgery, schedule a consultation and explore non-surgical options. I have personal experience with Flexogenics to treat osteoarthritis and tendon damage. I can confidently endorse their hyaluronic acid and PRP solutions. All right, welcome back to another episode of the Inspired Fitness Podcast. I'm joined today by my co-host, IFBB Pro, Kimberly Helm, along with our very special guest. He's been two-time Team of the Year, three-time Tour Champion, Sports Person of the Year. He's a three-time Olympian and is responsible for what has been called the biggest upset in Olympic beach volleyball history. You know him as the Lion King. He's pro volleyball player, Aleksandrs Samoilovs. You can find Alexander on Instagram using @Samalovs. That's SAMOILOVS. Alexander, how you doing?
Hi, guys.
Hello.
Thanks for having me.
You're in the Netherlands this week at an event.
Yeah, I'm in Rotterdam right now, and we are playing quarterfinals later in the evening. And yeah, I just came from practice, so you got me straight during event. Usually it's hardest part before the tournament when you play in the evening, like all the day, waiting for a game. Usually time goes so slow, and if I have something I can do. Yeah, we are playing King of a Court World Championship right now in Rotterdam. So the final tournament, biggest tournament of King of a Court. It's beach volleyball, new format, and they try to make it Olympic sport, Olympic discipline, as a second medal complex for beach volleyball. And they're trying to get it into Los Angeles.
Oh, wow. You'll have to share some more information about that when we're done here. But so I just mentioned the Olympic match. This is the 2008 Beijing Olympics.
Long time ago,
yeah. But you were responsible for the upset against the American team, Phil Dalhausser and Todd Rogers, who were favored to take gold that year, and you beat them in the first round.
Yeah, so me and my partner, Martin Plavins, we were the last team to qualify for Olympics. We were running the last wagon. Yeah, we were the youngest team in beach volleyball history. We both were just turned 23. And we played opening match. So after Olympic opening, next day on Sunday, it was the first sport for our national team. Our Olympic team for Latvia was only 56 athletes. So everyone was watching, and it was opening match of a beach volleyball Olympics. And we are last seeded. We played number one seeded, I think they were 6 tournaments undefeated before Olympics. And we beat them 2-0. We played amazing match without zero mistakes. And they had the huge pressure because everyone, media, fans, themselves, federation, they're waiting gold medal from them. So for Dalhausser, it was the first Olympics, so I think he was a little bit shaky. But anyway, after that game, my father, who was our team coach, he came to Roger Dalhausser and said, guys, don't worry, you will win Olympics anyway. And that's what happened later in the tournament. They won.
Amazing.
That is amazing. At 23 years old, this had to be an amazing feeling for you. Do you remember what you felt in that moment when you won that first match?
Yeah, it was like a dream, and everything worked smoothly. But the biggest feeling I have in my mind, if you've seen movies, The Gladiator,
yes.
And the moment as I enter the Coliseum, so for sure, Hollywood knows how to show this and the emotion with the music. So it was approximately the same. So we are standing under the stadium. Doors are shut down. We are waiting. You just heard the vibrations of a huge stadium, 12,000 people, music, mascot, cheerleaders, and DJs screaming. And when they open the door, you enter the stadium. Your partner tosses you ball. You go on net. You smash first attack, and then 12,000 people boom with your spike. And it's just goosebumps everywhere. And so in this kind of moment, if you struggle really, really bad. if everything works well, you have hot hands, and that's what happened with us. Like everything with emotion, you just keep going, and you have this correct.
That's one of the things that I know you for. I mean, you've been doing this for a long time, and I'm sure you have a favorite match that you've won somewhere along the way. What's that one?
So for sure, my first Olympic match was number one. But the biggest match was 2013 in South Africa. That was a week when Nelson Mandela died. They canceled for Sundays. They canceled all entertainment and sport events. So on Saturday, we had to play 4 matches instead of 2. So we had to play 1/8, quarterfinals, semifinals, and finals. And it was so hot. Like Celsius was 35 degrees. I don't know how much in Fahrenheit. We started 6 in the morning and to play 4 matches. Like sun was burning. And this was a tournament. We fight with Brazil for the first place in the world ranking. We were so close. So one team, if Brazil would beat us by 2 spots, if we are third and they are first in the tournament, they will win. But we were leading. And we played them in a semifinal. But the match before, after quarterfinals, I went in an ice bath. I sit too long, so I get out from an ice bath. My partner said, okay, I go to the room, take a nap, eat lunch. And after 2 hours, I come back and we start warm up and prepare for a semifinal against Brazil. And I just get out from this ice bath and I start really bad cramping. Like all my body, like neck, my abs, back, everything. I crawl to the medical room. I said to the physios, like I'm cramping really bad. So they started to give me electrolytes. And like for 2 hours, I was cramping. 4 people were trying to make a massage so I can relax. And then when they had idea, they bring a kettle and they put hot water on the towels and they started to put really boiled water on my muscles so they can relax. So 2 hours I was in medical room, cramping really bad. So I said to physios that probably I will withdraw. So like really bad. That's like, but it's so important match. And then somehow I started to move and started to like blood circulation. And they said, okay, maybe just now try to stand. So they helped me. I stand and I said like, and now you have to move. You can't stop. You can sit, you can lie. Yeah, so all the time you have to move. And when you're moving, you will have your blood circulation going and probably you wouldn't cramp. So I was walking 1 hour around the court. My partner came from a hotel, like already having a nap. So like, where have you been? They're like, Yanis, don't ask.
Long story.
Long story. Yeah. So we started warm up because we already had 2 matches. And it was third day of the tournament. We already played 2 matches in the morning. 2 hours I was cramping, so my legs were so tired. We start to warm up. My jump is barely I can get out of the sand. Brazilians see that I can like something wrong. Like I can't move. I can't jump. So they were like trying to serve on me. Like really like so precise. I just stand close to the line. My partner took 90% of the court and I was just receiving all the time because our style, me and Smedins, we playing all the time when receiving straight, not like reception, set, attack. We were always playing reception and attack on 2 without the block. So this is our strategy. So I was all the time receiving him on second and he was playing amazing. He's like, okay, we have nothing to lose. Let's go. And he played unbelievable match. And I think I was attacking maybe 1 out of 3 balls and some barely like underhands in the fingers. And Brazils were shocked. They see like I can't do anything, but nothing worked for them. And we won that match. And it was like emotionally the toughest match. And it guaranteed us place in the first rank.
That's incredible story. So you were actually the first team from Latvia to ever be ranked number 1 in the world. And I think it was, and we were second European in the history before. Now Norway, most of them, a few years already, like I think 4 years, they're number 1 in the world rank. What was it like for you to be first in Latvia, second in Europe, to hold this title? Like, it made you a national hero.
It was really big for beach volleyball in our country. Because before we were practicing in the winter, so our climate is not really good in Latvia for like Scandinavian countries. So if people ask what is climate in Latvia, so it's the same as in Canada, Toronto, probably is the same climate. So you can understand that beach volleyball we can play. If you're fanatic, maybe you can play 5 months. But normal people, like amateurs, they can play 3 or 4 months a year. You can play, and then you can play in the sand socks or in the thermo. And when it's snowing, you can normally play. So you have to travel to the warmer places. When we qualified to Olympics, the guys built first indoor facility in the capital in Riga. And when we became the first ranking, they built another 2. And now we have, just in capital in Riga, with less than 1 million people in the city, we have 5 indoor facilities with 29 courts.
Wow.
And in every indoor facility is a kids' school with from 80 to 140 kids. So in the 4 indoor facilities, more than 400 kids playing beach volleyball on a regular basis, like all year round. They play indoors in winter and outdoors in summer. So now like more and more teams start to come from a younger age, and nobody have to clean snow at the beach and play in the shoes anymore. So they have this infrastructure. A lot of people say, oh, okay, when I was a kid, I was dreaming to be a number 1 in the world. When I was a kid, my dream was to go to Olympics. But I wasn't thinking about like being number 1 in the world, because I watch on TV Brazil, USA play, AVP, and like Ricardo Emanuel, Zé Marco, like all these Brazilian legends. And so like, wow, this is a different world. So I wish I can play against them, but I wasn't dreaming to beat them. I was just keep on working, doing hard job. And before me and my partner, when we partnered, none of Latvian team can qualify even to the main draw. They were always losing in qualification. And when we started to play together, my father was the coach, our coach. And he said, in 5 years, we need to qualify to Beijing. And my partner, he was libero in our best Latvian indoor team. He came to practice and said, in the changing room, he said to his team, like Samalovs senior said that we need to qualify to Beijing in 5 years. He said, like all the teams started to laugh. What do you mean Olympics?
It's not going to happen. Yeah.
What? It's not going to happen. Like. And I remember we had in school, we need to write an essay, and I wrote that I want to go in Olympics. And everybody was so skeptical. They were like beach volleyball is Olympic sport? It's like, what to do? Like at the beach? Is it a sport? It's like, And then 5 years, my father believed it. Me and my partner, I don't really think we were like so sure as he was, but we were just working hard, listening to him, never complain, and just doing our work. And finally it worked out. And then we would just keep stayed in the race, keep going. The discipline was a key of our success.
Your father was instrumental from a support perspective, and it sounds like he took the time to really understand the sport, right? He was not just a fan. He really took the time to understand how to help you get there.
Yeah, he was pioneer of beach volleyball in Latvia.
Yeah.
So he was the first one who won Latvian championship. He was an ex-professional player, and he was always inviting indoor players to the beach to play in the tournaments. That's how he learned. He came from small village, and he said his mom worked in a library. And in this library, there was magazines, American magazines about beach volleyball. I don't know how they were there, somebody bringing them somehow. And he really liked this magazine, so he was learning. There was some techniques, explanations, some stuff. So he was learning and then teaching all kids around him. They were putting string between trees and playing over the string volleyball. He was teaching other kids how to play. And then he went to the university, and he said like, wow, this was a huge step when there was a team, coach, everyone like working professionally. So he said like, I made huge improvement. And then he went to play in Spain, and he played against best Spanish teams, players, and they were like beach in Spain was much bigger than in Latvia. So he learned from there. And when he retired, he came to me and said, okay, let's start serious. Because I was playing because he was professional players. He was traveling also. And I was playing basketball during school. And they said, okay, let's stop with basketball. Let's do serious sport.
Did you like basketball?
Yeah, I like really. I like a lot. And I was doing till 19. I was doing 2 sports at the same time. So in winter, I was studying and playing basketball. During Saturday, Sunday, we had games, or if there was the one day off, I was playing at the beach. And then all summer, I was at the beach. And I remember we had training camps in basketball in my hometown in Jurmala. And in the morning, we have practice basketball. We do some drills. Then was a half day off. I run to the beach. I play all day. I played beach volleyball, and then I come back to the training camp for a second basketball session. And it was like 2 weeks camp, and I was doing like nonstop. I don't know how I survived this, but yeah, when you're a kid,
Sure.
your energy is unlimited, and watching me in recovery.
Your athleticism, though, right?
Now I see like young athletes. I was like, oh, I need to recover. I take day off. So what do you mean day off? Just go sleep, eat banana, eat well, sleep well, and next day you're completely fresh. It's like, there's a funny joke. It's like when you're 20, you party all night, you wake up like you were sleeping all night. When you are 40, you party all night, you wake up like you were partying all night.
So true.
When you're 60, you sleep all night, you wake up like you are partying all night.
Sean, do you know anything? You just sound familiar at all.
It sounds very familiar. So you've been an athlete all your life, so you know what it takes to train and be committed and disciplined. What goes into training as a professional volleyball player?
Usually our plan was, for sure in competition it's different because it depends like what's your schedule, but most of the time 2 days before tournament I do explosive exercises, some sprints, so for my Achilles, for calf muscles, for like reaction exercises, so mostly for sprints, because on the volleyball court, usually we have rallies 8 to 12 seconds, and it's really need you 5-6 steps maximum you do, and then you wait. So all the time interval and easy practice before the competitions, and during competition it depends. If I have early match, then we just do in the morning little activation with the ball and stretching, and if late match we do easy session in the morning where you jump, but nothing very intense. We do it short, but just to activate muscles and before games. In the training camps in off season, our sport is seasonal, so off season in winter time we start like after your season is over, you take a rest, and then we start with the preparation. For sure, you build the base, you work on the endurance, so running, bike, longer distance, but you do it like short period, and then we start doing also endurance, but with intervals, because our sport is interval sport. So what we do, so you do like a little bit faster run, slowly juggle, then faster juggle, that not just running in one rhythm. And because when you're doing all this interval sport in one rhythm, you become slow. And in our sport, explosiveness is a key. And when we start working with a gym, first of all, for sure, we work on our deep muscles. 1 month, I hate it the most. When you need to do on a deep muscle with many repetitions, without small weights and big amount of repetitions. So you strengthen your body. Then we start to work with big weights to reach maximum. So you have become strong. And as closer it comes to the season, you start to reduce weight and increase the speed how you do all this exercise. So you do for all muscles, and because it's playing sports, what is really important, I've seen many times people are practicing, they're running only in one direction. Also, like running exercise, just go straight. It's not a track and field. So we are not running just on a line straight. You have to run in any direction. You can run forward, to the sides, backwards, everywhere. You don't know where the opponent is going to put the ball. So this is one of the keys that when I started to work with my coach, he needed to learn how to change his program, because before he was mostly working with the track and field athletes. And for him, he needed to develop all the exercise so we can work in all 3 planes. Yes, that's how it starts to work. Usually in the preparation, we work Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday is day off, Friday, Saturday we practice, Sunday is off. And we practice 3 times a day. So we have 15 sessions a week. We practice in the morning. We do some running, sprints, jumping exercises. We do with medicine ball, with a shot put ball. We do some throwing exercises. Second practice, we do volleyball, technical, and then in the evening, gym.
That's an amazing regiment. Like that's
and this is how we work first 10 years of my career, and this is the key why we always had our best results at the end of the season, because most of the teams, we are not very tall. Our strength was endurance, and when it was really hard tournaments, I know it's going to be hard for me, but I know it's going to be way harder for the opponent, and that's where the place when I can beat them. Because even the regular conditions, when it's cool weather, not deep sand. The big guys, they're just hitting over me, and then just I'm only 6'6", and we have guys like 7'2", 7'1" playing, and just you can jump high, but I was never a high jumper. So the only way I can to play smart to beat them with endurance.
You mentioned your coach earlier. There was an article published in 2021 about Marco Salustri, who was one time your coach. Marco's kind of a volleyball legend, especially in Italy. He's won a number of titles, 5 golds and 2 silver medals in the World Championships. You know, in that article, he's quoted as saying, "A coach should change his methods to be in line with the players." What was it like to work with him, and how do you see, you've had different coaches, you mentioned your father, we know Marco was one of them, I'm sure there's been others. Have they all adapted to you, or have you had to learn to adapt to their style?
Using more coaches, no, actually, my father was my first coach and the only coach for the first 16 years. And then I just came to the moment, I said like, okay, you're already going to the training camps, you know all the drills, you know all the regimes, that how it's all going to happen. And it's like mentally was a little bit tough. And that's why it was one of the hardest decisions that when I changed a coach, also in our relationships, father and son. But I understood that in one moment that we needed for our team to get new emotion, new vision. Because my father already said I was 34, and he said like, "Oh, come on, you can't improve anything. Already I teach you everything, and you just need to stay healthy and keep your physical conditions on a good levels, and just you can beat any team." Yeah. But I still believed I can improve many things, and he can't teach me because maybe he don't see this or he don't know how to fix this. When I had a coach, my father, he worked with 5 teams in his life, his coaching life, and with all 5 teams, he qualified to Olympics. That's why he's like 100%, 5 out of 5. And I knew that with such a high level coach, I need not the lowest level, so I can still develop. And then we agreed with Salustri. He was the coach at that time with the best Italian team, Carambolo Rossi. And I knew him since I played on tour. We are like one family. You know, it's like men's club, traveling from one place to another, having training camps together, living in one hotel, traveling with the same planes and shuttle buses, and practicing against each other until the moment we are against each other on the court. So I knew him, and we agreed, and we started to work. But my father learned discipline so hard. Like for him, if you've seen movies about Marines, for sure, you know this like stereotype how like this not general usually, like sergeant, like how strict they are, like, oh yeah, you do this, run, crawl, jump, run. So this was approximately the way how my father was coaching us. So I don't think it was hard to work with me for Salustri. It was more harder because we were already stars, how to deal with our egos probably sometimes. But as athletes, we were always, me and Yanis, we were always very disciplined. We never party. We always go for practice. We work hard during practice. You don't need to say twice what to do. We never say, I feel lazy today. It never happened with us. But we always had our opinions. Yeah, that's true.
But Kim, this translates into your world, right, in the bodybuilding space. There are 2 things that Alex has said here that resonate with me. One is as a professional, bringing the discipline, and the other is as a coach, you're looking for that individual's strengths. You're catering to that personality, and you're looking for ways to motivate and help them improve. What are your thoughts on how that transcends between volleyball and your world of bodybuilding?
The discipline is a transferable skill, I say, that's applicable in any sport. And the more discipline that you have, the further you're going to go faster. And I get excited hearing you talk, Aleksandr, because I love that discipline. It is a passion for me. To me, the sports piece of it and hitting your goals is so exciting. So when I hear you talk about the fact that, you weren't slacking off and y'all weren't partying and you kept your head on straight as far as what your goals are, I think there's a certain amount of maturity as an athlete, as a professional athlete, that sets you apart, that you've kind of arrived in that scene. And I see this a lot in bodybuilding and in coaching, where when people are still at more what I would consider an amateur level when their mindset hasn't caught up to that level of discipline yet, where they're still saying, oh, I need this break. Okay, good. I have a little bit of off season. I can relax. I can let down. I don't have to train as hard or work as hard. And then you get to this point where something flips, and it's something that I experienced myself when I turned pro in bodybuilding, where I wanted to put my best effort 24/7 all year round. It never turned off. And that's when I saw the biggest gains to improve. And that's the same thing that we see when we're coaching athletes, is that when your mindset shifts into a constant 24/7, no, this is my lifestyle. This is not just something I do for a few days or a few weeks at a time, but this is where I want to live. And when that mindset happens, it just seems to trigger all sorts of successes.
Yeah, but that speaks to something a little bit greater, right? And Alex has alluded to this, right? It takes a certain degree of mental conditioning, like mental toughness, mental fortitude to be an elite athlete, right?
And suffer. Yeah. You have to be able to suffer, right?
Yeah, my father saying that your mentality of an athlete is like best athletes are these athletes who can handle the pain, handle tiredness, handle mental pain, and handle like if you have micro injuries. So these guys, because in the important moments of the game, when it's last points, it's hot weather, you are tired, you have pain in your muscles, you barely breathing. This is a moment when you can beat your opponents. Because for sure they feel the same. They're the same human. They did the same amount of work. And this is a moment when if you handle pain, you just don't give up. You beat that. And this is the difference if you're on podium, standing with a medal, or you are outside the podium.
Yes, I totally agree. And it's, the level of pain is directly proportionate to your level of success. The more you can overcome, the more you grow your confidence. And that's what that mentality that just flips on all the time. But the more I know it sounds crazy because people are like, why do I have to suffer? I'm like, no, it is part of, if you want to get to the highest level, the more that you can suffer, the more that you can understand what to do in those situations where you don't panic, where you don't say, oh no, this is not going to work. What do I do? You have the experience behind you to lean on. You know what to do. You've been there before. It separates you from everybody else.
Yeah, you have to be able to mentally push yourself to a new limit, rise above what you thought your ceiling was and get to the next step. Do you have any particular mental strategies that you like to lean on to help you achieve that sort of next level of eliteness?
On one point of my career, I understood that I need help from outside to handle the pressure, stress. And that the moment I started to go to sport psychologist. And the first thing she teach me was breathing exercises. Breathing exercise, how you can relax. First of all, can you relax your muscles? And second thing, how you can close your mind for all your thoughts you have. Because most of the time, especially young athletes, hardest part is before tournament, when you think, when you can't sleep, when you think about, tomorrow is an important game, and you can't sleep, and you all the day, you say and think about this, and then you wake up and you feel like, I'm so tired. Game is not started yet, I'm already tired, because of this mental pressure. It's really important. So breathing exercise, and also breathing during the game. Because most of the time you see, especially the kids when they're stressed like this, when they can't breathe, in the crucial moments, you can always see in different sports when they're breathe in and they become so stiff. So all the movements stiff, and this is also the moment when they can get injured. So the best way in the crucial moments, the opposite, not to breathe in, but to breathe out. So your body relax, and you can make a soft touch, like a soft throw or a touch with a ball or any other discipline. So not to handle oxygen inside you. So you need to be more relaxed to perform well. So it was a key thing. And another thing that helps me really a lot also in stressful situation during the games, it's to speak to myself and speak loud, not inside your brain, but just to say, okay, Alex, let's now just relax and focus on this ball, make a good reception and precise side out. So you say it loud, okay, not saying loud, but you just say it. Crowd is loud, probably nobody will hear it. My partner in the beginning was you saying something? So no, I'm talking to myself.
Self-talk.
And then, and then he was okay with this, and this also helps.
Yeah, that's fantastic though. You're speaking out loud to give yourself the proper mindset to perform for the next volley. You said something a moment ago about injury. It takes a lot of mental fortitude to deal with injury. Because with injury becomes frustration, disappointment, anxiety. Do you have any particular methods for, how you deal with those situations?
First of all, it's like you need to work hard to prevent injuries. And that's what's all happening in your off season. When you build base, you work hard on your body not to have injuries. I remember when I was young and people saying, okay, you need to warm up properly, do this exercises for deep muscles. And when you are young, you show up to practice, move your shoulder, okay, I'm ready to play. And you can just, and I see the same as a young player. They show up, do like 2 sit-ups, a little bit, few rotation, okay, I'm ready to go. Now I want to come and say, please, guys, warm up. After 10 years, your knees will tell you thank you for this. when you're young, you say come on, these old guys talking. I don't need warm up. I'm already warm. Come on, it's 30 degrees outside. Why you need to warm up? So yeah, it's 30 degrees outside, but inside your muscle is tight. So, and then in fact, yeah. And how to deal? It's hard. But what I realized that after injury, usually the best results are coming. Because when you're injured and you can't play, this is the moment you become hungry. You become very hungry, and when you get back on court, when you're finally healthy and you can perform on your highest level, that's the moment you start to show results much better than you had before injury.
I really like what you said about, this is a really good point that you made about the idea of the perfect state is to avoid injury, right? Because a lot of people take a lot of time to prepare. What do I do when I get injured? And optimally, you want to do everything you can to make sure that you are in the best shape of your life so that you don't have to deal with the injury. And I love that you said that you didn't say that's when you're at your worst. You said after that is when you're at your best, which is amazing. And it speaks to your mental strength and your positivity.
Like any career, not only sport, in any career, you can't go just smooth. You have up and downs, and usually injuries, it's a kind of signal of our body that, come on, man, it's time to a little bit calm down, yeah? And then otherwise you just go and go, and we are not robots, and we can just keep on going. And sometimes our bodies, if you're not listening to your bodies, and body say, okay, if you're not listening to me, you're not listening for signals, here it is. Here's injury. So now sit and relax and evaluate what you're doing.
Yep, deal with it, yep.
So, there's one other aspect to sort of the mental toughness component of this, right? And that's, Alex, you play a team sport. You have a partner on the court. You played with a few different people over the years, and adapting to a new partner, their personality, their style of play, there's a certain mental space that you have to put yourself in to handle that. What's that been like for you?
So I would say beach volleyball is even worse than team sport, because team sport, I remember I played basketball. So we had a team of 10 people minimum and a coach. And when you win the games, everything is well. Everything's good, everyone's happy. But the problem comes when you're losing. And with the basketball, I remember, okay, today this guy missed the last shot, and the strategy was bad, so probably it's coach fault. And us human, we usually looking for try to find other people fault in our problems, and then losses. Okay, so, it's I made 10 mistakes, but he could give me a better set, or
Place blame.
He could make at least one ace or stuff like this. And so in team sports, we're always okay, you can have a little conflict with this player, but still you have other players you can communicate. When you're a team of 2 and you start losing games, it's always between him and me. It was a problem usually why beach volleyball players are changing partners pretty often, and I spend with him more times than with my wife. When we spend in court during competition, it's maybe 3% of our partnership. And most of the time we spend in the room, we spend traveling. And this is small things. If you can avoid small conflicts outside, this in the life of 97%, then even if you have conflict during the game, it's still your team will be strong. And the most important, we never had we never made emotional decisions. So usually after heartbreaking losses, we just go separate ways, just meet after 1 hour in the room or somewhere, and then we talk. And then you can speak not with emotions, you can speak with the facts. And this was a key moment. And this was one with Yanis. We played already 11 years with Smedins. Yeah, so the first thing my father said never beat him hard during practice when you play 1-against-1, like small competition. So because he can, his alter ego will suffer, and it's like it wouldn't be good for your team. Like
Interesting.
My father said, okay, beat him hard so you will raise his level.
Yes, there's a lot of psychology to it, isn't there?
That's true. That's what coaches should do. They need to find a way how to make the team strong. Probably you know this famous story about Kobe Bryant and Shaquille O'Neal when Kobe Bryant came and he started and Phil Jackson said, "Come on, Kobe, give a ball to Shaq." He said, "Yeah, but I'm scoring. I'm good. I feel good." So yeah, but we are losing Shaq, and the team we are not getting maximum out of it. So it's the way also in our teams. My father said, don't try all the time to win hard and to prove something. So it wouldn't be good for our team. Prove it on the court when you play against other players, not against when you play in practice against each other.
Yeah, very smart.
There's actually a little bit of marriage advice in there too.
Yeah, marriage advice number one thing is to talk to each other. It was the same in the team. If you have something inside, just talk to each other.
Very smart. Very smart. And I love the approach where if you've suffered a defeat or you have some frustration, you take a little bit of time, you reflect on it, and then you come together and talk. That's for any team sport. That's great advice. So I'm going to take you back to South Africa. You were talking a little bit about how in South Africa you had to do so many matches in one day that, it was hot, just a tough day in general. What nutrition did you rely on to carry you through and make sure you had peak performance during that period?
So yeah, at the 2013 was when we became first in the world ranking. I was 28, and actually before I wasn't so as I told you, I was just sleep well, eat well, and maybe add some protein during off season when you work a lot, not to lose muscles, because when you have 3 practice a day, it's really important just to keep your muscles. But that moment when I started to have this I always had the cramps, but I never took really care of this. In 2013, when it really could affect my career, I realized, okay, it's it wasn't injury, but it was a moment I realized, okay, I need to do something with it. I started to prepare. First of all, I started to do cool down after every practice, after every game. Doesn't matter if you play in 1 hour, 1.5 hours, still I will go and do 10 minutes cool down. Just do easy running, 7 minutes. I did the tests to understand after how many minutes my lactate starts to go down. So I started to do this, and it really helped me. I reduced cramping by 10 times. So just by 10 minutes, easy running, stretching after intense game. I started to take some medicines. So I tried many things, different electrolytes. I found one product, EFS Pro, that helped me a lot. So I started to buy this product. For sure, there are a lot of products, and you just need to try what helps your body best. And this was a product that really affected. I can feel that, I will start have cramping. So I just make a shake. All the rest, I just try to eat healthy, eat a lot of vitamins. And for sure in wintertime, with our climate, when you have long nights, no sun, so taking vitamin D, vitamin C, and magnesium. Always like to have less cramping. Sometimes some gels before the game when I don't feel enough energy, and during the game I drink electrolytes, recovery drinks after games in the evening before going to sleep.
So are you preparing your food in advance in bulk? Are you just preparing, your food for the week, or how does that work?
It depends where we're playing. If we are playing in the countries, I know, there will be good food. Food is pretty okay in all the countries. Sometimes if we go to training camps in some areas I'm not sure about, or when we have tournaments in Asia, usually that's the tournaments when a lot of players bring their food in the canes and stuff like that. And in training camps, usually most of the time we cook ourselves. For dinner we go somewhere out, but lunch and breakfast we do ourselves. And if I need to put my energy in a training process and a competition, because that's why I'm not eating meat. And some people say, "Oh, you eat meat in the evening?" So like, but it's too heavy. How you go sleep? With the amount of energy I spend, is just I go sleep, and when I sleep, my body can digest all this hard meal, and then I get everything from it. And not like with full stomach, I go and practice. I don't have 4 hours between practices in training camp, so that's why I eat meat and fish in the evening. And sorry, I had no problems with weight. So you just till through your everything so well. You just go keep on working. At the age of 30, something changes my body, and I realized that I need to start to think what I'm eating, how much I absorb, and reduce sweets. And the one thing I reduced, I loved eggs for breakfast because I felt that like I eating eggs and I'm like pumping. My wife says, "Oh, come on, stay on your weight. What's your weight now?" I'm like, "Come on, stop eating sweets." I'm like, "Oh, come on."
You know, we had the opportunity to talk to another professional volleyball player that you might know. His name's Evan Corey. He's
I know.
Notorious for the blue nose. We were talking about the same thing with him, you know, relative to nutrition, and Team USA provides them with a nutritionist. Do you enjoy the same luxury?
We have the same. We have nutritionists in the Olympic team, but I never take it serious. Because every time I come and say like I eat this, and say, "Oh, you need to reduce this, you need to reduce sweets." I love sweets. I can't reduce them. I said like I better do one exercise rather than reduce sweets. I like my chocolate, and my wife doing perfect Sunday pancakes, and she's like, "Oh no, pancakes not good." I said, "But can I have it just Sunday morning on my day off with family? Can I have my 10 pancakes?" I was in this area. I was really bad student.
He's a bad student. I like that. But you know, everybody's body is different, right? So like because your body is so used to this high level of energy and production and activity that I imagine your metabolism and your bodies just can churn and process most things pretty easily. And I would not think that, you know, once every so often having a stack of homemade pancakes, I don't think that would deter a whole lot. I wouldn't imagine.
He sounds like a man after my own heart, doesn't he, Kim? Like some of the same attitudes about food.
Yes.
We're kind of coming to the end of the season, relatively. What does the rest of this year look like? What does next year look like?
So actually, now you call me in the right moment. This is our last tournament of our team. Era of Samalovs Medins is over. We played 11 years together. We achieved so many. We won 13 medals on the world tour, and we've been 3 times world ranking champion. In our profession, it's really hard. When I was studying in banking systems, like all my my friends from university, they were like developing their careers step by step. And now at the age of 40, they have really good positions in the banks or financial institutions. But in professional sports, it's very brutal that at the age of 40, you are young as a man, but you are old as an athlete. And at the age of 40, you just have to stop. And your life begins, I would say, like from zero, where the kids started at 20-year-old building their careers. You need to start to live and work normal job, or okay, if you stay as a coach, still you can share your experience. It's a huge problem actually in professional sport that I was a part of. I was study about dual career when like most of the time professional athletes, they just put everything in a pro sport, and at the age of 40 they finish their career, and okay, if they're number one stars, probably they will keep on going with their names. But all the other athletes, still they were really good athletes. Maybe they're not Olympic champions, but they were best even like of their continent or the country. They're not Olympic champions. They can't get on the top of the top, but still they're really good athletes. And they get into huge depression, and it's a huge problem for professional athletes. They get most of the percentage of NBA players who get bankrupt after 5 years of their professional career, even if they're multimillionaires. It's enormous. Yeah, this actually it's the hardest part of my life coming now, but I'm well prepared. And yeah, this will be the last tournament of our team.
You're leaving behind an incredible legacy. You've had some absolutely inspiring accomplishments. I just want to thank you for being here today and having this conversation with us. I think there's going to be a lot of younger players that hear this and who can take some advice from a man who's been through it all. Good luck.
Thanks for the invite. It was a nice conversation.
Yes. Thank you
so much.
Good luck in the rest of the tournament this week. I'll be watching. I want to see how you finish. We'll certainly be rooting for you. Join us again next time on the Inspired Fitness Podcast. Until then, we wish you a healthy mind, a healthy body, and healthy habits. We'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to Inspired Fitness, leading you to a healthy mind, healthy body, and healthy habits. To stay inspired, visit us at inspiredfitness.net. That's INSPIRD.net. Until next time, stay inspired.